Hey everyone, Kevin here. For people just starting out as instructional designers, they are inevitably going to hear the terms ADDIE and SAM thrown around a number of times, and I don't think the field necessarily does the greatest of job at defining what those are or how they're used, rather just saying that we use them. Now, I've already done videos on both ADDIE and SAM in order to help rectify that particular issue, so make sure to check those out if you want to get a great basic overview of each process. In this episode, though, I wanted to go over the question of which process is better, ADDIE or SAM. And the complicated answer is, well, neither really. The process you end up choosing will more depend on what your company or team is set up for and how they want to operate or do business. Both are great tools, but they likewise both come with their strengths and their weaknesses. When it comes to ADDIE, it is a solid and familiar process that has commonly led to great results for companies and IDs in particular. Overall, it has just been consistently proven to work. Regardless of the learning objectives or content, the sequential ADDIE step-based format gives you a great method to track if the course is properly aligned. This is why ADDIE's linear nature allows you to easily look backwards and know where things went wrong, thus allowing the team to quickly learn from mistakes so they aren't repeated. Importantly, it is also easier to measure the time and budget size of the triple constraint due to that linear system. It is simple to know when each step is slated to be completed and what it will cost at each of those stages, especially if your team makes a lot of similar courses. This makes future analysis and design phases take much less time and gives you a framework to use moving forward, which is useful. Unfortunately, ADDIE isn't perfect, and its linear nature can also be its Achilles heel and be a weakness. Since reviews and evaluations don't happen until the later stages of the system, an error can get compounded multiple times over to the point that it can actually be really hard to fix. As a result, this can make ADDIE more expensive in both time and cost due to having to go back and completely rework things. Even worse, the course should be almost done, and you have the stakeholders suddenly discover that the entire training doesn't align with the original learning objectives. This would either require a change to those objectives or needing to go backward and find where that misalignment occurred in the first place in order to correct it. These last couple issues I have repeatedly seen every time I have been on a team using ADDIE, and it actually led to serious frustrations where I was frankly annoyed that things weren't caught sooner in order to prevent those kinds of problems or misalignments. I love ADDIE as a whole, particularly because I like the orderly stages and training plans that come along with it, but it can be a troublesome process to use and can lead to friction if not managed well. On the other hand, let's look at SAM now, which tends to be a much quicker process due to its cyclical nature and constant communication between IDs and stakeholders, as well as PMs. This allows for much faster issue identification and resolution, reducing or even eliminating those late-game ADDIE frustrations I mentioned earlier, because instead of having to go through sometimes countless revisions at the very end of a course, you catch them during development. This is why SAM is not a top-down system and generally stimulates better collaboration with all members of the team. Plus, due to the system creating a less polished, quick prototype and always fine-tuning it until it gets the way the team wants, this allows the ID to ensure that the course aligns with the learning objectives at every single stage of the training, which is really beneficial in the long run. Unfortunately, even though I also like making rapid prototypes, I really prefer to have a more cleanly laid out plan as one would have with ADDIE. As I said in that previous episode, this cyclical system can be quite chaotic and requires a great deal of effort and tight collaboration to work, or else the constant revisions will get tiresome and annoying. Now, remember my original response where I said that neither system is perfect? This is because it really does depend on what tool you need on your team. Generally, ADDIE works well for online training courses with sequential modules, like compliance training courses, for instance, or for companies that require multiple successive sign-offs at every stage of a course with project managers, stakeholders, etc. The SAM model, though, is usually better for free-form online training like onboarding or on-the-job training, OJT training. However, it tends to work better for smaller teams, so if you have a really large team, this is harder to manage due to having far too many voices in an already chaotic process. Too many people will be involved. But when it comes down to it, whichever process your team uses will work just fine because neither is better than the other. They each will deliver quality content in the end, and you should make the decision on which to use given your company's circumstances. Sometimes you may even use both depending on the project, so just keep that in mind. But that is it for today. I want to give you as quick of an overview as I could. As always, though, I am here to help you get a handle on these different processes or to answer any questions you may have. See you next time, everyone.